Hey everyone, it's Hayes, and they have just released the trailer for episode 14, GRENDIAPER, I think I'm saying that correctly. So it'll be linked down below for you to go and watch it. However, you will need to watch both the English trailer and the French trailer, because I believe, like one of the first times ever, I think, for the official trailers for the episodes, they are different. They do share similar scenes, don't get me wrong. Both trailers have slightly different things in them, so you will need to watch both. So I'm just going to try and my best and group it all together in the order I think it happens. So these screenshots are taken from the English and the French trailers, so please watch both of them before you watch the rest of this video. So we open with Zoe wearing her beanie. Obviously she's in the rest of her new season 6 outfit, so what I'm assuming is happening here is basically she's trying to work out her style possibly moving forward, especially now Chloe isn't going to be at school. So I think possibly the first set of images is kind of like a little bit of flashback to maybe the start of the season. We know this episode, the bulk of the episode, does happen later because we see Sabrina in her new Miss Hound outfit, but the start of this trailer looks like it's possibly before. So she's talking to Pollen, but Pollen obviously convinces her you don't need the beanie. So I would assume then at the hotel, Zoe says goodbye to Andre, her... is the term ex-stepdad? Because I think he's divorcing Audrey. Can you have an ex-stepdad? God, I don't know. So Zoe is fine, she's happy, she goes to school, she sees her friends. I think she's filled with a lot of hope. She's like, my sister's not here this year, no one's going to get bullied, no one's going to get hurt. But then she sees Ray. And obviously we know he was there in Daddy Cop right at the end of the episode, so maybe this is her seeing him properly for the first time at school, and it's that prior to that scene. And she is undoubtedly absolutely horrified. So it then seems Zoe just tries to get on with life, so I think the rest of this episode is later on. So she goes to class, she's sat with Sabrina, she's having a nice time. In another class, she and Marinette are making a cake for Adrian, which Adrian, what an absolute lad, he just picks it up with his hand and takes a bite. To get a knife and fork, God, it's not a cupcake. There's another bit where Zoe seems to be showing Marinette something on her phone as they're walking, but Ray walks into her and the phone goes flying, and I think we can all agree it was definitely intentional. And then I think Zoe from the other trailer basically then talks to Mr. Damocles and is like, look, Ray and his friends are hurting me, they're hurting possibly other people at school, as we saw in Sleeping Siren with Ondine. So he calls the three boys into his office. However, it looks like Ray's dad arrives, and it looks like things possibly don't go in Zoe's favour, and she ends up crying. Marinette does find her and tries to comfort her, but it doesn't seem to go very well. And there is also another section, I'm not sure if this happened before or after the meeting, where Zoe and Sabrina are on the bus and this annoying boy is taking selfies, being rude, and it's upsetting the woman's baby who he is sat next to. And Zoe and Sabrina leave. And as they go to leave the bus, the door's shut, and they leave out someone in a wheelchair who was approaching the bus, presumably to get on it. So I think Zoe just basically gets really overwhelmed with all like the injustices in the world, and not just Ray, but other things going on, and she transforms into Fury, which I was so happy I was right about. I think it was in my analysis video for Sleeping Siren, right at the end of it, when I talk about the ending scene, I was like, I think it has to be Zoe kind of doing a bit like what Adrian does in Kuroneko, using the same Miraculous, but to basically force the Kwame to give you a different outfit, like a different persona. So she has Vesperia as her B-hero outfit, but then Fury, all black with the yellow eyes, as like a vigilante counterpart. So she transforms, looks really cool, I can't wait to see this. Although I am a little bit confused, so Max seems to be on the tram, this tram driver, obviously there's no dialogue in the trailer, but they don't seem to be doing anything wrong, they just seem to be steering the tram, I don't know. And Zoe comes in and takes them, and then poor Max, he's just there. And Fury, or Zoe, takes the driver up onto the roof of the nearest building. Now, I'm not saying the tram driver had to have been doing something problematic. Perhaps Fury, or Zoe, was actually saving him. Maybe she worked out they were gonna crash or something. Maybe she was helping. So I'm not really sure why she was doing it. Is she going to go back and save everyone else? I'm assuming there's more than just Max on this tram, but okay. Little bit confused what her exact motives are here. Honestly, at the minute, I'm kind of, like I said, going down the vigilante route. I'm thinking Batman sort of vibes, kind of going against the police and what you should be doing, quote unquote, you know what I mean? So I'm definitely intrigued to find out more. Perhaps I can do a little theory video about it tomorrow if I find the time. And then the rest of the trailer for both of them is quite similar, and it's basically the Akuma fight. So we have GRENDIAPER, who I'm now assuming is possibly that baby from the bus, but the baby looks a little bit too young, so maybe it's the boy who was being annoying. It looks like they have somewhat a similar colour scheme, if you see what I mean, so perhaps it's them instead. I'm not 100% sure though. So they throw the Ferris wheel at Cat Noir, he jumps out of the way, Ladybug and Cat Noir chase him. However, in addition to being large and also having these explosive projectiles, GRENDIAPER also seems to have, and I'm not really sure what to call it, but some sort of really loud shout or roar. So Rena Rouge is there, didn't expect to see Rena, but always welcome, I love Rena. She basically goes to attack. She didn't know he had this power though, and she is unable to carry on or something, or unable to attack anyway, because of the sheer volume of the shout. So to try and get around it, we have Pegasus being used all the time. Poor Max. He's not having a good episode. He opens a portal for Vesperia to jump through, and prior to that in the other trailer we see Ladybug call Vesperia, so perhaps she was in the middle of doing some vigilante type stuff, but their plan to go around the back of GRENDIAPER I doubt would work, although I do think since this seems to be a Zoe episode, Zoe is going to ultimately save the day. We also have Miss Hound there. God, everyone's turning up for this, although I'm not really sure what she can use Fetch for in this situation. We have Max again saving the day. It looks like GRENDIAPER throws something quite large, so he uses a portal to basically divert it somewhere else. Cat Noir then destroys the road for reasons I don't understand, and then the trailer kind of ends with GRENDIAPER slamming Ladybug into his hand in a fist, although I am hoping it's an illusion, because his hands look like they're made out of metal or something, and I'm pretty sure she would be squished. So, and then the trailer ends with, again, seeing Zoe as Fury with someone else. I don't know who this someone else is. I do believe they are a new character, so I am intrigued to find out who they are. But yeah, I'm just glad I was right, that it was Zoe. A lot of people thought it was Lila, and I was like, no, this is Zoe. Why on earth would Lila be mad that these three boys have got Undyne Akumatized? She likes doing that, so why would she be mad at them? Anyway, besties, I'd love to know what you think of all of this, and I will see you in the next one.